Model for the Statue of Liberty, 36-year-old Isabel Boyer. Beauty pageant winners, Washington, 1922. A family in the slums of Toronto, 1914. A protester against the Vietnam War places a carnation into the barrel of his soldier's rifle aimed at peaceful people, 1967. Boston blizzard of 1978, USA. 73 people died, over 4,000 were injured during the relentless three-day storm. A Bosnian soldier near a destroyed house where 69 people, including his family, perished. Yugoslavian War, 1995. Horses used as barricades during the Spanish Civil War. Barcelona, 1936. Crowd fights over toilet paper in a Tokyo supermarket, Japan, 1973. During the casting for the lead role in the horror film The Shadow of the Cat, 1961. A Chernobyl liquidator prepares to clean the reactor roof. He burned to death from radiation after 40 minutes, Chernobyl, 1986. Inside a German WWI submarine. Indians give a ceremonial salmon to a train conductor. Oregon, 1940. The Native Americans lived peacefully, fishing, hunting, and using herbs for medicine, but then came the representatives of the exceptional nation and destroyed this people. Pretty Boy Floyd, a public favorite. In 1930s America, he robbed banks, and with each heist he destroyed all the mortgage records, thereby relieving hundreds of people of their mortgage payments. Ormer Locklear is considered the founder of wing walking. In 1920, he died in a plane crash while filming his movie. The day of the assassination attempt. Archduke Ferdinand and his wife, Duchess Sophie of Hohenberg, June 28, 1914. Reporters watch a nuclear test during Operation Plum Bob, USA, 1957, the largest and most controversial nuclear series on U.S. soil. 29 bombs detonated. A mannequin head made from soap, toilet paper, and real hair, used by John Anglin to escape from Alcatraz Prison, USA, 1962. In the Congo, Belgians cut off the hands of locals as punishment for poorly performed rubber gathering work, late 19th century. A school bus on the streets of Taiwan, 1950s. A horrific experiment from 1970 to determine whether there was a link between smoking and cancer. Eunuch from the Imperial Court, Beijing, 1949. Baby races, New Jersey, 1955. Punt gun used for duck hunting, banned because it could kill up to 50 ducks at once, 1910s. French soldiers use a homemade trench catapult to throw grenades at German positions, 1915. U.S. Lieutenant Jeremy Shales plays baseball inside one of Saddam Hussein's palaces, Iraq, 2003. Cornell University students learn the intricacies of ironing in a home economics class, 1951. Alternative method of restraining patients in early 20th century psychiatry. The oldest advertisement for escort services. These are the sandals of ancient Greek prostitutes with a mirrored inscription, "Follow me." The imprint of the inscription was left on the ground, thus advertising their services. In the 13th century near Paris, the giant gallows of Montfaucon were built, which have not survived to this day. Executions for 50 people could be carried out there simultaneously. Archduke Franz Ferdinand and the First Elephant Killed. British Salon, 1893. A woman in an elegant dress on a dusty street in the Wild West is concealed behind a mask protecting her from the sun and wind. In an era when a tan was associated with manual labor and aristocratic paleness was the ideal, such accessories were considered a necessity. Confederate and Union soldiers shaking hands at a Battle of Gettysburg reunion, 1913. An old globe on an ostrich egg. It's about 500 years old. Drinking fountains for blacks and whites, USA, 1956. Loggers and a giant fallen tree in California, 1892. In 1952, Einstein was offered the post of President of Israel, but he refused, citing a lack of necessary experience. German man accused of associating with a Jewish woman. I am a defiler of the race. Germany, 1935. The dogs that survived the Titanic's sinking. There were 12 dogs on board, but only 3 survived. Aloysia Veit, Hitler's cousin. She ended up in a mental asylum with psychosis. Later, she was sent to a gas chamber as a mentally ill person. According to Nazi ideology, the extermination of mentally ill individuals was meant to improve the mental health of the nation. A boy reading in a London bookstore after an air raid, 1940. Stars of the 90s then and now. Time cannot be stopped. Policeman measuring a swimsuit's length, USA, 1964. A 1951 photograph from the Korean War shows Chinese soldiers kneeling before Korean troops and pleading for mercy. Evelyn Smith, a former stripper, was hired by a jealous woman to kill her lover. USA, 1935. Listening booths for vinyl records, 1950s. Many music stores offered a special booth where customers could listen to records before buying. A Japanese soldier adjusts a Chinese man's head before decapitating him. Execution of a prisoner of war, 1938. Germany wins on all fronts. Inscription on the Eiffel Tower during the occupation. American cavalrymen by the giant sequoia, grizzly giant. Strangely enough, no one cut this tree down, and it still exists today. USA, 1900. Loading a 5mm hard drive into a plane, 1956. This massive IBM unit weighed over a ton. View of Pearl Harbor, Oahu Island, Hawaii, USA, December 7, 1941. The Loyalty Dance, a ritual dance symbolizing devotion to the country's leader Mao Zedong, China, 1967. Ma Barker, the mother of all American gangsters, organized the Barker Gang. She was killed along with her son Fred in a fierce hours-long shootout with FBI agents who surrounded her home in 1935. These kinds of doors helped alcoholics of the past find the keyhole after their alcoholic procedures. Viking skates, made of leather and horse bone, 10th century. Bob Marley accused of marijuana possession on his way to court. London, 1977. This is a dog named Laika, the first dog in space. There were no plans for her return to Earth, and she died in orbit in 1957. A U.S. Embassy employee hits a South Vietnamese man trying to board the last helicopter during the evacuation of Saigon, 1975. Glimpse into Afghanistan's infrastructure and culture, mid-20th century. Great Depression. Fred Bell, once a millionaire, now selling apples after the 1929 stock market crash. Died in 1934 in a poorhouse. United Arab Emirates before discovering oil reserves, Dubai, 1976. Man in a rooster costume, late 19th century. Harvey Ball, the man who invented the smiley face. Lee Harvey Oswald, the assassin of John F. Kennedy before his death, 1963, USA. In 1979, Brazil's military president João Figueiredo reached out to a 5-year-old girl for a propaganda photo op, but she refused. The shot became an iconic symbol of resistance against the dictatorship. French soldiers shoot a German prisoner of war. France, 1914. A narcotics officer after a raid on a drug den. USA, 1993. Family portrait during the Spanish flu, 1918. A miner takes a photo against the backdrop of nature, USSR, 1991. This is a screenshot from the 1970s show The Dating Game. The man circled is serial killer Rodney Alcala. He became the winner of the show, but the woman refused to go on a date with him. Imagine how lucky she was. Hacker Kevin Mitnick hacked the Pentagon network and Colorado Air Defense at the age of 16. After 5 years in prison, he erased his sentence data from the state registry and emptied the bank account of the judge who sentenced him. Lab technician in a plastic suit selecting a rat for experiments in an Indiana lab, USA, 1949. Farmer Mrs. Maud Lee and her daughter Pat enjoy breakfast with their pet sheep named Betty, England, 1949. A woman carries a sewing machine on her head using the local method of carrying. Women from these regions usually carry water jugs on their heads. Kuwait, 1955. In Japan from the 17th–19th centuries, there was anazumo, or female sumo. It originated in districts where there were brothels. Prostitutes wrestled either each other or blind men. In 1815, about 50,000 soldiers died at the Battle of Waterloo. Before burying the soldiers, their teeth were pulled to make dentures. Waterloo teeth were in high demand. French civilians upon the entrance of the Nazis into Paris during World War II. The 1960s became the era of the miniskirt. However, women had to fight for the right to wear them. Women prisoners sitting on garbage waiting for food. In the 1930s, a woman's pregnancy was determined by inserting her urine into frogs. If, after 15 hours, the frog started laying eggs, it meant the woman was pregnant. Gold mine of Bald Mountain, Brazil, 1986. Native Alaskans play the game Nulukatuk. 1965. The trampoline was invented by Eskimos to spot whales during hunting as early as possible. They used a stretched walrus skin which could throw them to a height of almost 4 floors. A small girl in rags collects precious grains of wheat, USSR, 1921. The 19th century extravagance, Walter Rothschild's carriage drawn by zebras. A Christmas gift giver traffic controller, Barcelona, 1970. The tradition of giving gifts to traffic controllers during Christmas was widespread throughout Europe, especially loved and followed in Spain. President Joe Biden in his youth, 1960s. Children eat turnips and cabbage for Christmas because they have nothing else. Great Depression, USA, 1929. A brave child calls the police to protect his mother from being beaten by his father, 1987. A soldier's knees give way when popular actress Linda Darnell invites him to dance, 1940s. An owlet dressed in a sea lion skin, Alaska, 1900. Actress Marlene Dietrich kisses a soldier returning home from war. It seems that the guy on the left holding her up is enjoying the view. 1945. Firefighters rest in the rubble of the World Trade Center, New York, USA, September 12, 2001. Woman demanding the right to vote arrested, 1914. An emotional girl holds a bundle of grass where Ringo Starr once walked at Los Angeles Airport, USA, 1964. Teeth sharpening among Indonesian tribes, 1938. John Spears, leader of the Green Corn Rebellion. In 1917, he and 1,000 farmers planned a march on Washington to overthrow the government and end U.S. involvement in World War I. Japanese pilot Yamamura is the only kamikaze to escape death 3 times. First, he was shot down but saved by fishermen. Then the mission was canceled by bad weather, and a third time he was forced to return by technical malfunctions. In Germany in 1941, an inflatable Aryan doll was created for soldiers. The goal was to stop the spread of syphilis from Parisian prostitutes for the purity and health of the nation. Prohibition. Men pouring out whiskey. USA, 1931. Rally of Loyalty held in Berlin after the assassination attempt on Hitler and the attempted coup d'etat, July 21, 1944. School children hide under desks during training on how to act during an enemy air raid, USA, 1942. Sparked a reaction. Whether good or bad, I'd love to read your comments below. Get ready for the next installment very soon. Please like and subscribe so you don't miss out. Catch you later.